Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Penberlan Farm. Today, instead of actually doing the slurry that I said we'd do, we're going to go out with the Joskin Tornado and the Ford County 1884, which is the same tractor we used last time. I did do a check. This thing has almost 180 horsepower. I'll bring it up in the shop real quick for you to see it. It's easier to do. They're 177 horsepower. So this is a powerful little tractor. I happen to know the story behind the county tractors, so let's have a bit of story time, why not? The county tractors are actually modified. They're not actually a Ford tractor, they're county brand tractors. And what county did was they bought in Ford tractors, like, in this case it's probably a T-Dub 25, maybe 15 or 10. Might have been a 30 or 35. But they bought in Ford tractors, in this case a T-Dub. And they modified them. They put a... Is it modeled here? No, they put a drive shaft into the front wheels as well. Essentially stuck rear tires on the front, by and large. And they made four-wheel drive tractors when Ford wouldn't. And that was their entire business, was they made... Or they modified Ford tractors into four-wheel drive models. I've taken a wrong turn here, or I guess I've taken a turn that I didn't need to take. So let's just get this back in place. And they also, when they were refitting the tractors to be four-wheel drive, tended to modify the engines and put in turbo kits and whatnot, so the county tractors ended up with a bit more horsepower than the bog standard Fords. And they could do a bit more. They could do what the Fords just couldn't. We may end up doing two jobs here, because I just realized I got the... well, number one, I've managed to get the manure spreader stuck. So come on, you can get out of there. Yes, magnificent. Let's get the rear end open. And does it have to be turned on for me to do this? It apparently doesn't have various spreading width, interestingly. Spreader working with 24 meters. Oh, I think that's the max anyway. Even if it's not, that's a really good spread. I can't remember the keybinds to change the working with anyway. So let's take the hood down. We don't need the hood. So, the County 1884 I think was one of the last county tractors to be built. The county tractors tended to start off, I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this, I think they started off with the classic and legendary Ford Forces. They took the 3.5 and 7,000, actually, and the 4,000 tractors, and they made four-wheel drive versions. The legendary County Doe came out of that, which was one of the first articulated tractors, and it was basically just two tractors bolted together. One bolted to the steering arm of the other. And both engines were running, so it was a four-wheel drive, four-wheel direct driven monstrosity of an articulated tractor, and it worked. You know, it did exactly what it was supposed to. They also did, you know, I can't remember the exact model numbers, but they did four-wheel drive versions of the 7,000 and the 5,000, and I think the 3 and 4 as well. Although the County 7,000 version, their own version, was actually, I think, the most common, apart from the Doe. And they tended to do that to Ford tractors. Now, once four-wheel drive became a thing, normally, County were kind of left without something to do. They're left with their job already done by Ford. But they did take a couple of extra Ford tractors after the fact and just boosted the engine horsepower, and they basically worked as a tuning company for a period, and I don't know exactly when they shut up shop, but they did. they are, as far as I'm aware, no longer in existence, which is a bit of a shame. Mainly because tractors are now so efficient at putting out the horsepower and have so many turbos, and they're ECU driven and all that kind of stuff. There's no real need for a tuning company in the agricultural market anymore. Just gonna go out this way. I could have got in this way in the first place. Oh my god, Dave, you idiot. You wasted so much time. Well, literally some time turning around when you could have just taken another turn. So let's get back to the yard here and refill our manure spreader. We're gonna do field 15, is it? The field that had corn in it that we use for silage. Then what we're gonna do is actually bolt the Axion class onto the front of the manure spreader, or the slurry spreader. I did reset them all, so they're all going to be in a field, in the reset field. We're going to strap that all together and go back out into field 6 or 9 or whatever it was, and we will spread the slurry there. Yes, I did abandon that stuff there. I'll deal with it later. But one thing you should notice about the slurry pack, the Gila pack, which I think is actually in the mod spreadsheet already. I haven't touched the mod list in a while. That's something I hope to have done by the time this video is out, is get the mod list up to date. I know I've been saying it for a while, but that's going to be my job while I'm rendering these videos out, so hopefully I do it. Because rendering tends to take a lot of time and effort on the computer's part, and it basically just turns into a web browsing machine while I'm doing that, and even then it kind of struggles. So I'll work on that then. There we go, that'll do for a parking spot. Let's get the LM... what was it? LM742 on the go. That is not full, is it? We'll need the hood for this. That's as full as I got in a while. 44.99, only 1 litre short. That 99% bug is really getting on my nerves. Giants, please. Please, Giants, make with the fixes for that, please. Because I'm sure it's something they know about, I'm sure. Usually it's 4492, so 4499 was a bit of a surprise. Or at least change the published things to 4492 so that you get 99%, but hey, it's the maximum fill level. It is genuinely annoying that you can never get 100% in these things unless you're using something that'll insta-bop it in, like the feed mixer I use actually insta-bops, as do a lot of the Svapa Agro production stuff, which is the stuff that I use on Thornton. The quote-unquote industrial estate on there is mainly Svapa Agri stuff. That insta-bops it in. The Compost Master also insta-bops, but that's not Svapa. But yeah, stuff that's running scripts that creates a fill type that is not normally in the game, or just has an old-fashioned fill plane, that'll insta-bop, and that's gone over the side, has it? No. Interesting. 94.6%. We'll fill it completely. Why not? We won't use all of it. We'll top it up. Actually, no, we won't. Never mind. Because I crashed and couldn't be bothered rescuing it. I'll have to move it again when we get to the class, but for now we'll just use this and make do. Now, one thing that's really good about the Gullet Pack, which I'll be showing off again shortly, is the fact that, and you may have noticed it last time, the slurry fill level doesn't actually go down all that quickly. It goes down at exactly the rate you define, so you don't actually waste slurry when you're using it. Because in real life, if you're using an injector system like what the Gillet Pack uses, or a specific slurry spreader I'm using, that will only eject as much slurry as needs to go out. You pre-program that, so it makes perfect sense. It's actually a realistic feature. It's not something that's silly and thrown in for the sake of farm sim. It's one place where the Giants' default stuff kind of falls short is, you know, the slurry's always coming out regardless of how quickly you're going, and maybe that's more realistic, I don't know. But I believe, at the very least, that there are slurry spreaders where you, especially GPS-linked ones, where you pre-program how much you want to go out per meter squared, and it calculates the size of the area you're going in at the moment, and detects whether it's on the ground. We'll put as much as you say, and we'll kind of meter it out like that, and the vacuum pumps are fine-tuned for it, I guess. Because, I mean, you don't want to be wasting all of your materials in one go. You know, say there's a technical glitch with the tractor and you gotta stop. Well, you don't want slurry to just keep spraying out. I know, realistically, you'd probably stop the tractor and stop the equipment and prevent that from happening in the first place. But, you know, you don't want even the chance of that happening. If there's a weird glitch and, for argument's sake, the PTO refuses to disengage. Well, then you got an issue because your slurry's all, you know, your slurry's pooling on the ground. You can't stop, and it's gonna completely empty itself and potentially cause more issues than it will solve. You know, and it'll go until you get back to the yard. You stop the tractor entirely and get a recovery vehicle or crew or whatever. Probably a Hilux, Toyota Hilux with a toolbox in the back, until you get that out to the field and you kind of shuttle spare parts over and back. You know, that's an issue, and just I don't think there's any solving that actually. So let's use the Axion here. And we'll hook up the full pack here, the Zune hammer, 18500 PKU, I believe it is. And we'll put the PTO on. We'll actually come right up to the front here and put the... Oh, hang on a second. Is this one of the comedy things here, actually? I may... If this does what I think it's going to do, I may do something silly with it. Just to show you guys something that I found in a stream once. Yes, it is. Turn it off first. What? How do I... There we go. Lower... Oh my god, I could lower it now. There. How do I turn this thing off? There is no way to turn this thing off. Ah! That is an issue, indeed. Let's get this thing over to the field and... Oh, you're supposed to be raised up, you get. Oh, because I... yeah, because I reset this, it actually ate the slurry that was in it. That is the thing with FS17, is if you reset something that has a fill type in it already, it will... can I not refill you, please? Can I... Oh. It will just eat whatever's in it. So if you got a full tanker slurry and you flip it, you're going to have to unflip that thing. Unless you're willing to get rid... You know, to lose whatever slurry is in there. Granted, it is a really good way of getting rid of unwanted stuff. Whoops. So we'll just get this filled up. And, oh, one cool thing that is in Creator Tools is if I press Control D, I can decide how dirty my tractor is. So if I want it perfectly clean, I just do that. And it's now perfectly clean. So you might see that happening in videos from time to time, where equipment will suddenly become very, very clean. That's, or very, very dirty, as the case may be. That's me abusing Creator Tools to my advantage. It's a really nice feature, actually. So let's get this unfolding. Actually, no, I can't unfold it before I get into the field, can I? Let's get this into the field and unfold it. And down. And... ah, there we go. We are working away. This is putting in 29.9 litres per metre squared, apparently. And cultivating at the same time, which is an added bonus. This might actually be putting 2 fertilization steps in at once. I don't know. But it is most definitely a cool little tool that you can use. Especially if you're kind of wanting to... if I just stop here, you can see it stops spreading slurry. If I move it slowly, it spreads very, very slowly. If I bring it up to the max speed, it starts spreading at what would considerably... well, would probably be considered at the normal rate. So you spread exactly as much slurry on the field as you want to, which is really, really nice as a feature. That is a genuinely nice feature of the mod. I think it's available on Mod Hoster. Or at least the version I have was. Or is for Mod Hoster. Or was. I don't know if it's still available, because mods seem to enjoy appearing and disappearing at random now. Not entirely sure why, but yeah. I'm also not entirely sure why this thing has front wheels that extend out. And that, yeah. Answers on a postcard, please. That'd be appreciated. Because that confuses me quite a lot. I'm guessing it's to spread the weight, but I mean... I don't know. I really just don't know. Is it the case that you drive around like this the whole time, or just in the field? And here's where I'm going to be curious. Does this thing still spread on... ah, it does spread on previously spread materials. So if you want it to not spread, you just lift it up out of the ground. If you want it to spread, you just put it back in, and it will continue spreading as per normal. And one thing that this does, the normal manure spreaders, or slurry spreaders, don't do, the default in-game ones I mean, is it does put down the manure texture. So it gives you the... I believe there's a small bonus if you're plowing manure, I think. But you could probably pair this up with other mods and get extra bonuses and advantages out of using this mod specifically, as opposed to the default in-game stuff. But this is, I think, to me at least, more realistic than what you get normally in-game, the bog standard stuff. I do like it. I'll probably use this quite a lot. The only issue of sorts that I have with this is it only has the bigger manure slurry spreaders, so... on maps where I'm wanting to use smaller equipment, and you know me, I will probably just use smaller equipment and deal with the disadvantages of that as I go along. But this thing I really do like as a mod. As on the whole, this is a really good mod, and maybe something you guys might want to add to your collections. I know Chris the Irish Gamer's used it before, and I kind of at one point asked him for a really quick tutorial on using it. He basically said, it's a slurry spreader, use it like a slurry spreader. Which is true, and I think I need to bind up an extra couple of keys here just to get all of the functions going. But, yeah. And one thing I should point out, those of you who don't do this much, if you're using slurry from the cows or the pigs, it is slurry. If you're using the stuff from the BGA, it is called digestate. It is a different fill type. It used to be the case in FS15 and FS13 that the BGA slurry was just called slurry by the game and recognized as just being normal slurry. FS17 changed that now, and it is digestate because of the whole you can sell slurry and manure thing that FS17 has going on. And it's just so you can't double dip with the BGA, and I think that's a really nice little feature. Because it'd be kind of silly if you could sell silage with the BGA, then grab the digestate and sell that. Although in real life, it usually is the case that the biogas plants do sell the digestate to local farmers to use as fertilizer. It's not something that's just given away for free, I believe. I believe it is sold. Although, probably in some cases, farmers are just like, well, you're going to have to give it away for free eventually, so I am paying you. Especially if there's just one super farm in the area, he can decide he's not paying. They need to get rid of it one way or another, and the most useful way to get rid of it, and the most environmentally friendly way to get rid of digestate, is to use it as fertilizer, because it's carbon neutral. It's actually carbon positive, I think. Or carbon negative. Yeah, this whole carbon neutral thing. What happens if you actually lose carbon through the entire process? Because the digestate is based on something that, it does produce carbon dioxide. Huh. But then the actual plant material that goes in reduces carbon dioxide. And it's probably carbon neutral biogas production. If not a net carbon reducer. Net reduction. That's something I never thought of. I honestly have no idea. Some areas of this seem to get a new fill plane going, or a new plane at least. Or a new texture is the word that I was looking for. Which is interesting. Because this is just a plug and play mod. They usually don't add textures in. Especially not into maps. Usually you need to edit the map to do that kind of stuff. So I mean, I'm curious about how this works. It might just be that it's tire tracks that are on top of the manure texture and going on a bit of a wonk. Which wouldn't really surprise me. Or it's a normal map going a bit haywire. It's probably a normal map going a bit haywire. It is just tire tracks on top of the... Yeah, it's just tire tracks, Dave. Just tire tracks. It's nothing special. But we are, of course, going to leave this farm in the best condition possible for whoever wants to take it up and whoever buys it off us. Going for a bit of roleplay, why not? Gonna leave this farm in the best condition we can. There's plenty of equipment here for whoever buys it and whoever ends up getting it, but it is time for us to move on to pastures new. Once we got this field done, at least. And pastures new, as you probably know by now, is in Canada. We're off to the States. We're off to use our big bud. We're gonna have some American equipment and North American style equipment. I don't want to say American equipment when I'm on a Canadian map, but we're gonna have some North American styled equipment for a little while, because I don't tend to use that stuff much. I tend to go with more European style stuff because most of the maps I play are European, specifically British, so I end up with really small stuff because that's the kind of stuff that I see driving around near me. In fact, a lot of the tractors I use are a lot bigger than what I'd see in real life. Even this Axion, it's usually Arion like 300 and 600s that I'd see. Even the Zetors in game are bigger than the ones I'd see in real life. Or the one that I see in real life. The guy near me, somebody near me owns a Zetor and it's a teeny tiny little thing. It's adorable and I love it. And I really want to see a farm sim mod of it, but I don't know the model name. So I can't, you know, make a request for this mod. One thing that I'm terrible at is making tractors and making models. And that's something I'm planning on learning in the very near future. For my map. But as you guys can see, we are nearing the end of this field and we're in about the 25-minute mark, so I think that's good for a video. I think we got enough done today. We got some slurry spread, we got some manure spread. We're out of slurry in this thing, so we gotta fold it up and bring it back over to the yard. So I will leave you guys by oh, this thing raises and lowers? I will leave you guys by saying, for the final time, I've been RainbowDave, you've been watching Farming Simulator 17 on Penberlan Farm. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, of course. If you're new and you enjoyed. Next time, I'll be on the... I can't remember the name of the map off the top of my head, but a Canadian map. Using the big butt equipment, using big style equipment, going big. Until then, stay safe. And goodbye.